is it pretty taxing here with these schedules? I know you get in early and leave late.
Get in very early. Get in about 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
Leave long after 7 p.m. This year I was assigned a fourth committee, the Finance Committee.
Wow.
And so Mondays are particularly interesting. I have Education Committee and Finance Committee at the exact same time, so I kind of bounce between the two. And I filed a number of bills, so I'm definitely being kept on my toes.
Tell me all your committees. You've told me some of them. Is that?
Well, I'm on the Health Welfare Institutions Committee. It deals with health issues and hospitalization issues, those sorts of things. I'm on the Education Committee. I'm on now the Finance Committee, and I'm on the Privileges and Elections Committee, which oversees sort of elections and privileges of House members and Senate members and anything election related.
Well, that's a great assignment, isn't it?
It's a great assignment.
Really, I mean that because I know about these various committees. Tell me about your legislation.
Well, I got a number of bills. Bills dealing with growth, immigration, taxes. One of the bills I have actually a number of bills that I'm dealing with regard to growth. That's a major challenge in our area. We want to empower the local governments to have more tools to say no to developments so that they can better control the infrastructure, better ascertain where we have the schools, where we have the roads, and where the growth will facilitate that. And when we don't, require that the roads and the schools and the other public safety infrastructure is there before we build the homes. So there's a good effort on a lot of people's parts, and I give credit to Governor Kane for also leading that effort. But it's something that I was doing ever since I was first elected, trying to push for these additional powers for local government, and also requiring that VDOT, Virginia Department of Transportation, and the local government coordinate better the land use planning with transportation planning.
Yeah, that's a big item. I know the governor, so you are certainly cooperative regardless of party, right?
That's right. Well, we both agree on this issue. We are different parties, and we do have some different philosophies on a number of different things. But on this issue, on the growth issue, I believe we're very much in concert. We both believe that we absolutely have to do something about this. I believe that no matter how much you tax the people of Virginia for transportation, we'll never, ever be able to keep up until we get the growth under control, because we're never going to be able to keep up with the private sector at the rate that they're building these homes and other development. And so we absolutely need to get a handle around how we're going to, again, better manage the infrastructure compared to the growth and the development.
Delegate, this is not a quick fix, though, is it?
No, it's not. In fact, anyone who believes that we'll fix transportation is just, well, is at best misled and at worst misleading others. The fact is that we absolutely, again, we have to get the growth under control, and then we have to adequately fund transportation, and we have to, and I believe we have to fund it with existing revenues. There's plenty of money there. The problem is that we're often taking transportation dollars, money that's generated from transportation, and using it for other purposes. Another bill that I filed would, for the third year in a row, would lock up the Transportation Trust Fund so that it couldn't be rated for other purposes.
Explain to our constituents about that fund.
Well, it's called the Transportation Trust Fund, and all the funds generated well, actually not. A portion of the funds generated for transportation are deposited into that fund and are intended to be used for transportation. However, often, again, that fund is rated and used for other purposes. So the money that we are already allocating to transportation isn't all going to transportation. But aside from that, we also have other revenues that are being generated from transportation purposes that aren't even being deposited into the Transportation Trust Fund. And I have also a number of other bills that will take more of that money that's being generated for transportation and turn around and use it for transportation, again, for not other purposes.
Now, you have a reputation of being a friend of small business. Can you tell me what, we've talked before, and that's pretty paramount in
yeah, well, I'm a small businessman myself. I deal with the challenges that same challenges that every other small businessman in Virginia deals with as well. And one of the things I think will be a big help is legislation that I put in called, basically known as small business pooling for health insurance, and allows small businesses to come together and to pool, whether it's 2 businesses or 10 businesses or 20 businesses, but to pool those resources together and that buying power together and get health insurance, and therefore be able to get it at a more competitive rate than they would be able to get individually. And we really hope that this will provide an opportunity for more small businesses to be able to A, afford health insurance, but also B, provide it to more of their employees, and therefore, giving giving access to health care to more and more of our citizens.
Brief our viewers on your core services, because a lot of it starts there, does it not?
I'm sorry?
Your core services, healthcare and so forth, education, they're very paramount also.
They're all very important, and we need to make sure that we spend the people's money on the people's priorities. And when I go talk to the voters and the citizens of my district, they care about transportation, they care about education, they care about health care, and they care about keeping their tax burden low. And I think if we focused on those four things, we'd be doing a lot better job around here. Unfortunately, we're often not, and there's a very powerful group of special interests down here, and we're often getting distracted from the things that we really need to focus in on. And same with the budget. The budget really needs to be focused on those four priorities as well. Adequately funding education, and I think we do a good job for the most part on that. Adequately funding transportation, which we do not do a good job of. Providing health care options to our citizens, and then letting them keep more of what they earn. The fact is that we came into session in 2004, and then Governor Warner cried that the sky was falling and that we had a fiscal crisis coming. The problem is that there was information not too long afterwards, but very conveniently disclosed after we voted to raise taxes, that we were running a surplus. And then since we came into session in 2004, we've now taken in more than $3 billion of unanticipated revenues, and much of that was spent in surplus funds, and we're continuing to. Right now, we're running an active surplus of $1.2 billion. So we really need to take the taxpayers' money and use it for the things that they wanted to use it for. It's their money, it's not ours. And there's a lot of guys around here, and perhaps gals as well, that believe that it's their money, and they are best equipped to decide where that money should go, and they're really not. The people of Virginia, I trust the people of Virginia to know where their priorities lie.
Talking about transportation is, you've talked about the land use and so forth, which was very important. What are the metro's working well, isn't it?
It sure is, and we'd love to get Metro extended to Lorton. That would be the first step from getting it from Springfield, and that's a huge project. I'm hopeful. And I've worked with and talked with our federal delegation, Senators Allen and Warner and Congressman Davis and Congresswoman Davis, who represent parts of my district. And we're all very committed to doing everything we can. We're hopeful that the BRAC Commission recommendations, where we're shifting so many more jobs to southern Fairfax and southern Prince William, to Fort Belvoir and to Quantico, that will provide an opportunity for the federal government to really provide an influx in transportation money to do that, to extend Metro to Lorton, because getting it to Lorton is the first step to getting it to Prince William.
Tell me about your district. But you have about 70,000 constituents, is that
I have
correct?
about 80,000.
Oh, 80,000. Yours is a little larger than
Yeah, it is.
Define it for me.
Well, I represent eastern Prince William County. It runs all the way down the Potomac on the west. The eastern side of my border is all the way down the Potomac, from the Occoquan River on the north side to Quantico Marine Corps Base on the south side. And then on the western border, it kind of acts like a sock. It goes down and then comes out. So I have parts of Woodbridge, all of Dumfries, Quantico, Triangle, and Montclair and Ashland communities out there towards Minnieville Road and 234.
So those transportation needs, they are very, very absolutely needed.
Well, they are very needed, and I like to say, and I think it's absolutely true, that I'm probably the legislator in the General Assembly with the most commuters in my district. So I am very, very attuned to what's going on in commuters' interests. I'm working very hard to make sure that we keep our HUV lanes free and open to sluggers. Sluggers are very important to our transportation system in Prince William, even though it's an informal program. It's very, very effective. Trying to make sure that we get more funds from the budget to deal with commuting issues, and I've been working very actively with the Speaker and our leadership, as well as the House Appropriations Chairman, Delegate Callahan, and trying to shift some more of these dollars to Eastern Prince William. I was successful in my first term to get quite a bit of money for expanded commuter parking and some other things, and I'm looking forward to even doing more this year and next year.